I'm Connor Wallace-Sims, and you are watching Rugby Wrap-Up.
Coming up on Rugby Wrap-Up, Major League Rugby talk with Steve Lewis and Matt McCarthy. Brought to you by Friends of the British Council. Hey everybody, Rugby Wrap-Up here at the Fantasy Sports Network Studio 34 in Midtown Manhattan, talking rugby. I'm Matt McCarthy, and in the studio with me is the Pocket Square Sporting Scotsman, Steve Lewis. Stephen, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Stephen, it's always good to see you, especially in the blue, because it just makes your eyes pop.
Thank you, darling.
Right, ladies and gentlemen? Just look at those baby blues, those Scottish baby blues. Come over here. All right, anyway, we've got some rugby to talk about. American rugby, Stephen. American Major League Rugby, MLR Rugby. We had another stellar 3 matches. We'll recap them briefly, and then we'll do our predictions. But first off, let's get to the recap. You had NOLA with NOLA Nate, who we thought knew what he was talking about, went down to Austin. And the results weren't what Nolan Nate wanted.
Well, you know, Drew Sunil was on the show, right? So anyone that comes on the show, they get a win. So Austin got their first home win of the year, 30-17. Surprised this wasn't one we picked. Some strong individual performances here. This chap, Hodson, some Irishman, scored a couple. And Hanko, who's probably the MVP of the season so far, also got a couple. And on the other side, actually, a local boy, not really a local boy, but St. Bonaventure and a Mystic River guy, John Sullivan. He also got a couple from the base of the scrum, too. So that was good for the Northeast peeps.
He's a Bonnie guy, huh?
Correct, yeah. Played a little Northeast, but played with Mystic under Josh Smith. Strong player.
Folks, if you don't know this, Steve has got his tentacles everywhere in rugby coaching, and when he mentions Northeast, it's because he coaches at Northeast amongst other places, right, Steve?
Correct.
Yes. So he's too humble to say that he coached the guy and now he's a professional player. I'll say it for you.
Yeah, but he's an interesting guy because he took a bit of a gamble going down there because he wasn't really a name. You know, I'm not talking contract particulars, but he went down to prove a point, and he's gone down and he's proved a point. So credit John Sullivan. Well done.
You know, this was a back-and-forth match, right? And it was 17-16 at one point. NOLA had taken the lead, and then they just took it on the chin a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not to detract from Austin, but I was a bit disappointed with Nolan's performance. I think they had gone well that first week, that first win, and this was coming back down to earth, so they won't be happy.
Then we had the other match in sunny San Diego.
Yeah, so this was a thriller. This is exactly the game Major League Rugby wants, that CBS wants. Lead changing hand multiple times, and then the home team coming away with a win right on the buzzer, 35-32, coming from behind. Another Northeast guy, actually, Boston, and old blue prop Tony Papura doing the business at the end.
Yes, he found pay dirt, didn't he?
Pay dirt, as they say. But this was probably, again, Houston will be disappointed with themselves because they had this game in hand. They were ahead, had the ball, 4 minutes to go, kicked the ball possession away. Then they made mincemeat of a line-out, and they allowed San Diego to steal this at the death. I mean, this was a game Houston had won. A little bit better game management towards the end. They would have gone away with the points.
So this was a Friday night lights match in San Diego, right? American football is tradition to have Friday night lights, college football, high school football, and now we got rugby. And it was an exciting one. But it could have been Anthony Salaber night because this kid had 3 tries.
Yeah, he's a Cal product. He's, playing centre now. Got a little partnership going with this guy, Duplessis. But Salaber came through well this weekend, got a hat-trick, so he was the star of the show. But, San Diego are improving again. This is, they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, Duplessis and Salaber, or Salad Bar, as you've called him off camera, are a formidable combination at center right now. That seems to be something to watch. And in defeat, though, you had Sam Windsor?
Sam Windsor, yeah, probably he's an accomplished player, right? He's played professionally, and he had a really good game. He stood out as well. So for Houston in defeat.
And you also mentioned Alex Elkins was somebody to watch earlier in the year, and he and Osei Coloniso, the Fijian,
yeah,
they are exciting to watch even when they don't have the ball.
Yeah, we'll go that far. I mean,
just me saying. I mean, the potential. It's like watching a home run hitter come up to the plate. You don't know if he's going to hit a home run. He might swing and miss, but his presence in the batter's box is something that you're excited about. I am as a sports fan.
Fair enough.
All right. Mm-hmm. No, too much of a stretch for you.
Stretch.
Go Rangers. Okay. Then you had Coach Alf Daniels. I just want to console the guy, right? The Utah Warriors. They had a heartbreaker in Utah with the Road Warriors that are the Glendale Raptors. And they had the lead. 10 minutes left in the match. They had just come back and scored a dramatic try. I'm talking about Utah, the home team.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was all Raptors, and it ended up being 29?
29. It's another great game for the league. So this one, I think, was 10-10 at the half, 17-17. Glendale come out on top, 36-29. One-score game. This was an opportunity for Utah at home. Glendale, I spoke with Mark Bullock today. He said they struggled a little bit in the heat.
Yeah.
They had some personnel missing with the 2 red cards. They also had Casey Rock down. They lost him early, second row. They lost Sam Figg, the Aussie back row. Sean Davis got injured the previous week, a concussion. He was out, so they had the younger kid, Chrisman, playing at scrum half. So if Glendale were there for the taking, this might have been it.
Yeah.
And Glendale got through it. They're going to get stronger, and they still might pick as cream of the crop going forward.
Well, I almost feel sorry for the Glendale players because it really was, I think, in the end, it's the depth of Glendale, but their fitness level is definitely a high fitness level, and that's got to do with Dave Williams. And I feel sorry for those guys because now if they had any excuses to try to maybe lessen their physical training sessions, it's not going to happen, right? Because it just proved that they outlasted in the last 10 minutes. They just outscored and outplayed Utah, who seemed to be a little bit gassed again.
Yep, I would agree with that. One other game in sort of MLR action was Ontario Arrows had their home opener. Up in Canada, they played Boston, who have been attempting to put a team together as well. And this was a bit one-sided, a bit of a track meet for the home team. A lot to 8 points. Talked with Josh Smith today. He said it was just it was one-way traffic. They Boston Mystics had a few guys missing, but you at this stage now you can't. And he wasn't making excuses, but you can't make excuses.
Well, but even so, yet they haven't really integrated in terms of all of Boston. Even all of New England. They're basically the Mystics or Mystic River. Sorry.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There were attempts early on to include, to be inclusive, and they certainly made those attempts. But I don't know if the rest of the Boston rugby community walk the walk. I mean, they want to be involved, but that's local politics up there. I'm not really on top of it right now. But disappointing performance for Boston and their attempts to look MLR credible. For Ontario, good performance, 1,600 fans, I believe, which was okay. They are still pursuing, I believe.
Did they shovel their way to the match this time? Or skate their way to the match?
Don't know the weather conditions, but it's interesting, in sort of when we're discussing MLR now, there's other teams coming in. Obviously, we know about New York. There's a lot of talk of other teams putting sides together. So what this competition is going to look like next year is going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. And it could be Ontario, it could be Boston, might be neither.
And on that note, we have to take a break. But just note that the Champagne Socialists didn't want to talk politics in this instance. But we'll be right back with more MLR talk right after this.
Been blind since I was 4. And I've never seen a beer commercial or a beer label. None of that stuff influences me. I drink beer because of the taste. And my beer's Pabst Blue Ribbon. It has the taste and the flavor.
What do you think's on the label?
I think there's a naked woman riding on a unicorn, jumping over fire. Oh, that's good beer.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street. All right, we are back. Matt McCarthy and Steve Lewis at the Fantasy Sports Network, Studio 34 here in Midtown Manhattan. Talking rugby, talking American rugby. talking the MLR, Major League Rugby. And Steve, let's get to predictions.
Yep.
Okay, so American Borders, Austin at Utah. And that's the Friday night game on CBS Sports Network.
Okay, I'm going to go out here and take this as Utah's first win of the year. They're at home. They've shown improvement. They're getting there, getting over this conditioning thing we've talked about. So I'm going to go for them at home against Austin. I think Austin played better, but there are still some gaps.
Yeah, for Alf Daniels and co., it's going to be it's a make or break match. They are at home. It's nighttime. These two teams match up with physical play, right? You got some big bodies out there for both squads. I think I'm going to go with the Warriors at home, just because I am afraid of any team going 0-3, just for the sake of the league.
Correct.
Ronan Nelson agrees with you. He says Utah's going to get the win because of the way they played against Glendale.
Smart boy, that Ronan.
Yeah. Although those crafty veterans of Austin, don't ever sell them short, America.
Dad's Army?
That's right. Seattle at NOLA.
Seattle at NOLA. I'm going for Seattle, away from home.
You're just missing the whole boat here. The whole thing about Rugby Wrap-Up is you come on and you win. Taylor Howden on Rugby Wrap-Up this week translates, ladies and gentlemen, into a New Orleans win.
Not for me.
I'm in the minority on this one, though, because Ronan Nelson says Seattle is hungry and rested, and they're going to go down to New Orleans and win.
Told you. Smart boy, that Ronan.
All right, so we have to have differences of opinion somewhere, and then a final match on Sunday night under the lights at Glendale, the 4K lights at Glendale. San Diego. At Glendale.
At Glendale, yeah. Lots of friends on both sides here. It's a difficult one to pick.
But before you pick, what's the red card situation? Who's coming back for Glendale?
They won't be back yet. I mean, both Connor Cook and Ben Landry got 3 games.
So this will be the third.
Yeah. They had, I think it was initially 6-game suspensions, but the league has a good, has a proven judicial system. Jim Russell's well known in these matters. He has been one of the guys running it, but I don't think those guys are back yet. Also, what are the injury fitness reports on Casey Rock? What is it on Fig? What is it on Sean Davis? So, all that notwithstanding, and despite the firepower San Diego has behind the behind the scrum, I'm still picking Glendale.
All right, I'm going to go with Glendale, and here's why. They got a man of the match out of this last week with Harley Davidson on the wing, and they were lacking some of their big guns. They're getting anybody back, and they're at home, and you're getting a man of the match on the road in Utah at the wing. I'm just wondering how much more the wings are going to benefit from a stronger, healthier side. Glendale is going to win this one. Ronan Nelson is in San Diego, and he is saying the scrappy match will be won by San Diego, who's on a roll in Glendale. So clearly, he's been hitting the catnip.
Yeah, the Legionnaires on the road might struggle with not the Denver Barbarians, but the Glendale Raptors.
One have Matt Hawkins on the show, so there is that factor in behalf of San Diego. Yeah,
just one point. You mentioned Harley Davidson, so it's a product of Life, and I think we'd be remiss not to recognize Life, who won the D1A championship this last weekend by beating Cal, the perennial powerhouse, by 60 points to 5.
Wow.
So that's that Life performance this season by Life, coached by Colton Carriaga, Scott Lawrence, amongst others. You've got to tip the hat to them. They've had a tremendous collegiate season.
All right, we're recognizing Life here on Rugby Wrap-Up in more ways than one. And, Stephen, I think we are completely out of time. Again, do you have any final thoughts for the folks at home?
No.
Just turn that koozie around so we can see that New York Sevens koozie in front of your old blue hands.
Blue hands?
Old blue hands, yeah. Old blue hands and recognizing Life on Rugby Wrap-Up. Matt McCarthy and Steve Lewis in the Fantasy Sports Network, Studio 34 in New York City.